Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome, dear friend. Let me share this reading, this pointing from the beginning of the sit once again, for those of you who came in a little bit later. This was the pointer from the sit this evening or today. To realize true nature, what you are, be willing to recognize what you are not. Every object in the world, you are not. Every thought that comes and goes, you are not. Every emotion that comes and goes, you are not. Every sensation that comes and goes, you are not. Every memory from the past and every plan for the future, you are not. Keep quiet in observance of all of these and ask yourself, what remains? If you have followed this pointer, you see very quickly that only silence remains. Only this, here now. Seeing this, you know that no thing, no object, no subject I remains. Only the silence is here. That silence, which is alert and aware, full in its own being, needing no support. This is what you are. And this recognition is not a sense of loneliness or a sense of nothingness. If that's what you are experiencing, your mind is playing with you. True nature the I amness of your own being is full, not of objects, but you could say full of potential. The reason I say full of potential is because every possibility lives within and rests upon the foundation of awareness itself, being, consciousness, and bliss. This is not something you create, right? You know this, many of you do. This being consciousness is what is already here. When you burn down what you are not violently, but with intention, That is what this reading is about. So remind yourself frequently, if you need to, what you are not. Body, mind, and world. Coming and going, but not your nature. That which you are is being, consciousness, awareness itself. That which knows, I am. Before all else, I am. This is your true nature. This takes some persistence, takes some effort. For some of you, a little effort. For some of you, a lot of effort. This is dependent upon your conditioning. If you believe yourself to be the body, to be the mind, to be the emotions, to be what you are not, this will take some time. Be patient with yourself, but be persistent. Know what you are not in order to see directly and clearly that which you are, that which is here before all else. If only a little dust clouds your vision, then you can know beyond any doubt that this being, consciousness, which you feel as I am, is the true nature of who you are. Be certain of it. Remind yourself that which is aware is here now. Before all else, I am. Have you understood this pointer? My dear friends, some of you have. You see, I'm not here to keep anything from you. I am here to give you everything so that you can do this work. Only you can do it. I encourage you to carry on with confidence. Know yourself to be that which is aware. So if you'd like to check in with me, please raise your electronic hand. Hello, Prem Shanti.
Hello, Rishiji.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you too. A lot of emotion just came up. I was looking at a photograph of my grandmother, and she was a very unprejudiced, beautiful woman who had such unconditional love, and I felt very strongly connected with her. And today's my birthday, and I haven't heard a word from my mother. And I was just contrasting the difference between the two of them. And yeah, it's painful not to hear from your mother on your birthday, but she's really in a dark place. She's very lost. And
Perhaps it's better then.
yeah,
But it's important also that, if you know that about her, that you have some compassion in your heart. I
yeah,
know that you do, because I know that you do, because I've spoken with you. And
yeah,
hopefully this time it's enough that you think of her on your birthday
yes,
and remain with an open and compassionate heart for yourself and for her. Yeah.
yeah. That's what my tears are about. They're not for me, they're for her. To be able to do that to your own child is it's a dark place, I think. So I feel real compassion for her. It's upsetting that she's in that way, and it's upsetting for my children to see that as well, that she would do that to her own daughter. But it is what it is.
And what is it? Is
Sorry,
it
did you ask?
any more? Yes, I said, and what is it?
Yeah,
You see, I'm I understand what you're saying from an emotional point of view, but this teaching this day is an attempt to get us to understand and to see that we will always feel some pain and discomfort and disillusionment whenever we are indulging in what we are not.
yeah.
Yes.
We are not our thoughts.
We are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions, we are not our past. So while not denying what you're feeling, please know the truth of it. The truth of it is not you. And what you are experiencing is the manifestation of conditioning. You have been conditioned to think, emote, believe certain things, or things the way that things should be.
Yeah,
And when they don't conform, you feel unhappy.
yeah. It's deep programming, isn't it?
Yes, so it does require a certain persistence. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
I've had.
doesn't require that we bury the emotion, but rather that we stand present in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not present in it as a body and a mind or as a wound, but present in it as that which is aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just encourage you right now to feel these emotions, to let yourself have the experience you're having, but
Yeah.
always remind yourself to look toward this question: what remains after this, before this?
Mm.
Whether it's a thought, a feeling, an emotion, an experience, a memory from the past, or a projection to the future, what remains before that?
Okay.
What is all of that pain, that suffering, that trauma, and so on? What is all of that dependent upon? It's all dependent upon the recognition that you exist. Without this recognition, nothing can be known. And so part of your compassionate understanding about this conditioning which is rising is to be grateful to the one who made it possible for you to be here, not as this trauma, but as this awareness.
Okay.
The greatest gift she could have given you for your birthday was your birth.
Yeah.
Use it wisely.
Yes.
Ask yourself, what is aware here?
Yeah.
Put this birth, this life to good use.
Yes. Yes. Incredible gratitude.
Yes, yes.
I'm not angry with her at all. I feel a sense of sadness. And normally I would have been angry. I think maybe a year or two ago, anger would have risen. That how could she, why didn't she should this, she should that, but now
Yeah,
it's gone.
yeah,
There's no anger anymore.
yes. But that experience, as you know, always shows us that if we deal with anger and we allow that anger to dissolve or to be burned up, if we recognize that it's not the truth of who we are, then often what's underneath that anger is what you're experiencing now, which is sadness
Yeah.
or grief of some sort.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is the grief for that, for that relationship which one would have liked to have had.
Yes.
So
And
give it to yourself. Today on your birthday, be your own mother.
yes, I will.
Look after this little girl who is trying to enjoy her birthday.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you for sharing. Each of us in this life had a mother and a father. Some were fortunate or are fortunate to have had very loving family members, others have not. It is always important, first of all, to find compassion in our hearts for ourselves and for those others. One thing we can know for sure is that whether it's a parent or a sibling or a friend, when people know something about the heart of being, about compassion, about love, even just in very ordinary ways, they tend to do better. So if you have not been treated well in some way by anyone, rather than blaming yourself or blaming another, realize that you know better. So when you were hurt, when your heart was feeling that pain, that sorrow, that anger, remind yourself to love yourself, to remain in your own presence as that loving person, that you feel you didn't have. Be your own best mother, your own best father, your own best brother, your own best sister. Do that for yourself. You are the only one who really knows the love that you need. Find it within your own being, and then share it with the world, even if you can't share it with the one you'd like to. You can never change another being's experience, past or current. Everyone has to have the experience they are having. Why are they having this experience, though? If you have a compassionate heart, you know that people are having the experience they need to have in order, at some moment in this life or another, to know that they want to come to an end of suffering, an end of trauma, an end of these difficulties. This is what brought you here. You have come to discover who you are, not who you are not. You have to go through who you are not in order to know who you are. You need to pull this veil of who you are not back until you can see who you are. And you are very fortunate in this life to have found this way of being in the world. So, with a heart of gratitude, show compassion, love, and kindness to those that you can see around you who are suffering. And give up your own suffering. Come to this I am presence. Come into the silence of being and remain there as much as possible for you. Make this your gift to life. There's only one life. There's only one love. Be that. And realize, just to push you a little bit further, realize that at the end of this journey, you are going to realize something about yourself which has a direct bearing on feeling this kind of sadness and this kind of anger that Prem is talking about. And that is, this one, which I am, was never born, has never existed as a separate entity. I am one being, consciousness. Having always been that, I will remain as that eternally. This is not a philosophy. This is what can be seen if you take the time. Let your pain and your sorrow, your grief, your frustration, your vasanas, your tendencies, point you toward the heart. Don't become your pain, become your love. Ask this question, am I aware? Yes, remain there. Know yourself as being consciousness. Let everything else dissolve. It never existed anyway. Except as an imaginary story or imaginary play that you were involved in. You know, this is why in Vedanta, the world is referred to, or the play in the world is referred to as Lila, or as Maya, illusion. that which appears to exist, but when you know the truth directly in your own heart, not through philosophy, but directly through experience, when you know this, you know that what appears and what appears to happen, what appeared to happen in the past, never existed. It was a dream. Now you are awake. In the same way that you wake up in the morning and go, oh, whew, that was a dream. Okay, I'm glad that's over with. You can wake up from this dream of being a separate being as well, a separate entity, someone who experiences trauma, someone who is suffering. You can wake up from this. And when you wake from this dream, you go nowhere. You are simply here. But now everything is fresh. You see everything in the space of eternity, everything in the space of the infinite. And you know that anything which is coming, remaining for a period of time and going, is not who you are. It's just passing. When you realize this, you are free. So begin by thinking it. What you think, you become. So remind yourself, before all this, I am as being and consciousness. Okay, so Divya says, I feel like I'm waking up, but falling into sleep again and again. Yes, this is a common experience. The clarity varies from time to time. What can I do about it? Thank you. So this is a very common experience. I bet if we went through everybody here in the room, we would find this experience either is current for many of you, but it has been current. It was current at one time in your sadhana. This feeling as though you are waking up and some clarity is there, but again and again, experiencing this veiling quality of mind or falling asleep again and going into somehow the story of me again. So Divya, you say what? The clarity varies from time to time. So first of all, let me speak a moment about that. First of all, the clarity is not varying from time to time. The clarity is always there. In Vedanta, though, we speak about the veiling quality of the mind. This is what you're referring to as the clarity is varying. This really depends on whatever vasana is rising and falling at any given moment. It's not that the clarity is rising and falling, it's that the veiling or the vasana quality, the tendency is rising and falling. So what to do about that? The very first thing, know this is a tendency. Clarity of being is the truth, right? The experience of coming and going is the not truth or the not reality. But this is why in the teaching, we speak about vasanas, we speak about tendencies, is because when the mind appears to be veiled in some way, what we experience is a sense of confusion, a sense of non-clarity. But that's not related to the clarity of awareness itself, is it? That's related to the vasana or the tendency which is rising. Very first thing to know, this is a vasana. Very next thing to know, I am not that. And then by doing this repeatedly, you'll see right away that as soon as you stop identifying with the vasana or with the tendency, the clarity begins to feel like it's coming back. Of course, it's not coming back. The clarity is just there. What's actually happening is the vasana is weakening, we can say, weakening until it goes. So always, the answer to many of your questions is first don't identify. So when I say to you, know right away, this is a vasana or a tendency which is here, this tendency toward confusion or thinking I don't know or I don't know what to do, that kind of confusion, then first of all, know that is a vasana, and then say, neti neti, not this, I am not this. Then you can go directly back, either directly to the clarity of awareness and just rest there, or if you need to do an intermediary step, you can say, what is aware of this vasana? What is aware of this confusion? What is aware of this fear? I am. Well, who am I? Then you come back through the inquiry into the clarity step by step by step, if you need to do it that way. But I don't want to encourage you to take a lot of unnecessary steps. If you can simply go, this is just confusion, this is not the clarity that I'm used to, this is not who I am, then you can say, I am not this, and put it aside. You'll notice immediately that as soon as you enter into the process of inquiry, that the clarity begins to come back. And as soon as it comes back, be sure that you identify with that. Because some people will come back into clarity and then immediately go, oh, I fell away again. I wish I hadn't done that. I always do that. I wake up from time to time, but then I fail again. They go into that story. That story is not useful. So just come back into a feeling of presence. I am, a feeling of clarity. Then rest. Stop right there. Relax. Enjoy your clarity. The more you enjoy clarity, the longer you're able to stay in clarity or as clarity. It's not really in clarity because you are as clear. As awareness, you are clear. So come back into your nature and settle there. Very good. Very good question. Hello, Leonardo.
Namaste, namaste. Well, so when you said I'm not the body, I guess you and many teachers say I'm not the body. To me, sometimes it sounds a bit maybe dismissive, or because there is a tendency here that I have seen for many years to try to take good care of the body, try to exercise a bit, and try to follow
Yes.
so-called a healthy diet. So I don't know if there is, if you can somehow balance this notion of I'm not the body, I'm not flesh and blood, but at the same time, I want to take good care of the body and try to
Yes.
be
Yes.
attentive to it, because I also feel that somehow it's easier to practice when you feel
Yeah,
healthy.
and this is actually, yes, and this is actually in alignment with the teaching. The teaching is not I am the body, therefore I am nothing. The teaching is I am not the body alone, but I honor the body because the body is the vehicle of awakening. This is such an important part or aspect of the traditions of both Vedanta and Buddhism that the Buddha actually said, consider this body an indication of your good karma, because this is the only way in which you can awaken, is with this body. This is what you've been given. This is the tool. But what Ramana also said was, a tool doesn't need continuous sharpening. A tool gets sharpened and then it gets used for what it's needed for. And if it gets dull, then it gets sharpened again. So understand that you want to be aware that this is the vehicle. This body mind is the vehicle for awakening, but it's not, you don't need to be preoccupied with it. Yeah. Yeah. And then furthermore, do understand that you are not the body does not mean you don't have a body. It means you are not limited to the body. So this is the foundation of the question, who am I? Because it is this I sense that animates the body, right? This is what we see when someone dies. We see that the I sense, the I awareness, exits the body, and now the body is just a lump of whatever, right? So we know that that being was not the body, because when that being, as consciousness, leaves, the body is nothing. It's just another lump of dirt. It's just subject to dissolution right away within a matter of a few days. If you don't do anything, the body will just dissolve. So we know that there is something which is animating the physical body. So it's not to say that the body is not important. It's simply to say there is more than just the body. Who or what is that? And to use the body, take care of the body, treat the body well for the purpose of awakening. So we find balance, right?
All right.
We find balance. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. So hello. Is this, how do you pronounce your name? Helena? Helena? Helene, how do you say it? You have to turn your microphone on.
Yes. Okay. My name is Hélène,
Helene.
not Helena. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I would like to ask a question about. Well, first, I can start with the fact that since a few months or maybe years, I feel more and more deeply and widely love, compassion. I feel how wonderful every kind of life are, every form of life, and especially human. I really feel I am touched and amazed by the human, and it's very nice, and it's such a grace to feel that more widely than before, even if I
Yeah.
feeling this for a long time. And a few time ago, one of them touched me more deeply, and I am wondering, I am like, can I distract myself from the source? But I also want to be authentic. So I was wondering if I can talk to this person to say what she waited in me. And I don't know if I can discern, make the difference between manifestation of life that offer something that want a story that want to be told in God, in the bosom of God, or is it a simple emotion, vasana, like you said, a tendency, something that no roots, like a projection of.
Yes.
I don't want to identify. Maybe just I just have not to identify me, but I was wondering about these questions.
So I'm not sure if I completely understood what you're pointing at. But you just tell me if I'm not.
Yes.
um, sometimes, maybe you can tell me this. Have you noticed that you tend to overthink before you act?
Overthink before.
Yeah. You think, do you normally act fairly spontaneously? Or do you tend to think a lot before you act?
Depends, but in this kind of situation, I think before I act.
Yeah. So what's the foundation of that? Can you tell me? Is it?
Maybe it is the same question that I ask you. What is this feeling? Is it a tendency? Is it an emotion? Is it some kind of projection? Or
Well, one can certainly say it is all of those things, but that doesn't mean that it isn't also, there isn't also an element of truth in it, because the whole of our experience is constructed, you can say, because we take this I position and then we move through what manifests as experience. The important thing about experience is to remember that we're not defined by the experience itself. And so the way I always look at things is if something keeps pushing on me or keeps pressing me, there comes a moment when one simply has to step into the experience and see what's there.
Mm.
You can't know ahead of time.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, you really can't know ahead of time.
Mm.
And so find that balance between thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, and acting spontaneously and not being aware that sometimes we act spontaneously and the consequences are not what we expected.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So it's important for you to give yourself enough space through open awareness and open heart to feel into any expression which is on the field of awareness, on the screen of awareness, to feel into whatever that expression is. But that doesn't mean you have to jump in, you know, without knowing when the moment arises that you go, that there is this perception that, okay, this is not going to be where I need to go from here.
Mm.
And I will back out of this experience in some way. So this is always a fine line. We are testing in some ways. We don't know why is certain things coming to us in this life. We don't know. We know it is a play. We know we are an actor on a stage.
Yeah.
We know it is not real. And yet something is pushing. So we watch. Keep in your heart and in the center of your being that the first expression, if you will, of spiritual understanding is do no harm.
Is what do no?
Do no harm.
I don't know.
So do not harm. Do not hurt.
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 Of
Yes,
course.
you know this word.
Yeah, hurt.
Okay, this is another form of that word hurt in English. Do not harm oneself or another.
Mm.
So one is always aware when moving through experience what one can look if one is present as being consciousness, one can see what's happening in the ripples of energy that are moving in and out and through all of experience. And one can know if one is in presence. What is presence? Presence means not identified. One is here now as awareness, being, consciousness. One can know what is the effect that this is having, and one can know to withdraw if there's a sense that some harm is about to happen, either to oneself, to one's sadhana, or to another.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I'm not sure I understood everything, but I understood mostly everything.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I hope I was speaking to the right question, because I was not sure I understood everything you.
So we are not
You
sure
were-
we understood each other, but it was helpful for me.
Maybe we can feel it here, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe we will meet here and we will answer this question completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Deepak.
Namaste,
Hello.
Guruji. Hello.
Namaste.
I have been trying to practice Neti Neti couple of days, and I've been thinking of something what you said. You said, I am never born, I will never die. Nothing is born and nothing will die. And then I feel that I believe in it, but I don't have a direct perception of it. And I wonder if I'm trying to, and when I try to do the inquiry, I feel that there is a consciousness presence, but then I also think, am I making it up, trying to think of it logically, or I'm having that perception? And then I feel that I come to the point where I feel blocked. So I don't have that perception of everything as oneness. I wish I can get there. I want to get there, but I don't know how. Could you help me,
Yes.
guide me?
Yes, 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 yes. You have to continue. There is no way for most people that going not this, for 2 days is going to solve this difficulty that you're having. So you just need to continue, because this very simple practice doesn't lead us directly into a moment of realization, although it can. Normally, where it leads is if I realize I am not this, I'm not this, I'm not this experience, I'm not this sense experience, I'm not this thought, I'm not this emotion, I'm not this body. If we do this repeatedly without, this is important, without expectation. So we replace expectation with faith in the teaching. Not this, not this. If we don't replace the expectation with faith, then the pressure you're talking about begins to build up. The pressure is from the expectation.
Yeah.
So you have to put your faith in the teaching, in these thousands of years of teaching that have come to us through the sages. Not this, not this, not this. And then what can happen is a natural arising of, okay, I am not this, then who or what am I? But this takes a little bit of time, because the identification that says that you are the experiences of the body or the experiences of the mind, this has been a conditioning which has built up over many decades or lifetimes. So you have to be persistent, but you have to be kind. You have to be compassionate. The way to be kind and compassionate in this kind of sadhana is to remind yourself to be grateful that you have come now in this moment to this teaching, and then put your faith in the teaching, and then continue with patience, with self-love, even for the small self. But ultimately, love for the small self becomes love in the great self. So you just continue, but you do it with compassion, you do it with understanding, you do it with a sense of joy and a sense of gratitude. And the reason that we say this in the teaching, I give you an example. This example is that there is a sage sitting under a tree, and there are two sadhus coming up the lane, and they see this sadhu, this sage sitting under the tree, and they sit under the tree, and they feel this wonderful aura of this realized being. And this one sage, this one sadhu says, Master, when will I become enlightened? And he says, picks up a whole handful of leaves off the ground and says, when you have had as many lifetimes as the leaves in this hand, you will become enlightened. And he jumps up and he says, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not waiting 100 years, 100 lifetimes to become enlightened. I quit. I'm going. I'm leaving. Okay, he goes, he leaves. The other sadhu says, Master, when will I become enlightened? He reaches down, he picks up 5 or 6 leaves off the ground, and he says, you will become enlightened in this many lifetimes. And he jumps up and he says, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he starts dancing. His heart is full of joy and full of excitement. And he says, oh, my liberation is guaranteed. And of course, the story ends by his joy and his gratitude in that moment bring him to fruition, and he awakens in that moment. He doesn't need to wait 5 or 6 lifetimes. So this is the power of joy and the power of gratitude, that you have found this teaching. So put your faith in it and keep going.
Is there a right way or a wrong way? So when I'm inquiring, for example, I wonder, I was inquiring and I'm thinking, who am I and who's thinking this? And
Yes.
at that moment, somewhere I felt, this consciousness and this conscious, what I feel, there must be somebody observing this from outside. Is this what is that? And then I felt, is that correct? Am I? And then I started to wonder, am I thinking in a right way? Is there a right way or a wrong way? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, there is a right way and a wrong way, in a certain way. One can say. So the way you describe it, you were right on track up until the point that you said, I wonder what this consciousness is. Is it something out there looking at this? That's where you lost your way. So understand that for any experience to be possible, this awareness, which you are, or consciousness, which you are, this is the permanent fixture. It is there all the time. That is what must be there in order for you to engage in any kind of sadhana or any kind of tapas. This has to be there. So rather than asking, is it outside, which will cause you to look outside, just acknowledge that that which is aware is here now, but I cannot see that in the same way I can see a thought.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I sense also this consciousness has been constant over a period of time. That same consciousness when I was kid or when I was younger, teenager, and now as well.
Yes,
So
yes.
and then this consciousness as a self is itself, but the self is an awareness which not the world awareness, not as everything as one, but just the awareness which if is the right word to use, is awareness. That's all I can say.
Okay, so let me just ask you this question. Just drop all of that for a moment, okay? Just put that aside, that thinking. Are you aware?
Yeah.
Yeah. You hesitated. Why did you
Yeah.
hesitate? Were you looking for something?
Yeah, I was looking for something.
You were looking for something.
I was
Okay,
looking for something deep in.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. In order for you to look for something, when I said, are you aware? You had to step into some idea of who I am. And then that idea looks around in the rest of the ideas
Yeah.
to
True.
confirm or deny that it is aware. Okay, now come back to emptiness again. Come back to emptiness again. Are you aware?
No.
No. How can you say no? Are you telling me you aren't aware? Are you asleep? What are you?
What do you mean when you say aware?
You are still looking through your own baggage
Yeah.
for an object called awareness.
Mm.
I am not asking you to describe an object that you call awareness. I am asking you, are you aware?
I'm aware.
That was much faster. Very good. Be quicker. Are you aware?
Yeah.
Aha. Did you need to think about that? Or do you just know it?
I felt I had to say it.
Yes, you had to say it. You didn't have to go through the mind in order to say it.
True. Yeah.
You didn't have to find an object that was called awareness in order to say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just kept pushing you back into your own awareness. And then I say, are you aware? And what you say, just like that. You know. Okay? So all of these other ideas that you have, these are the things which your thinking mind, your intellect, is very keen to try to figure out. They don't help you know this truth that you are aware. This recognition, are you aware? Yes, that quick. You can only know that when the mind has been bypassed or dropped. When there is no mind present, I can say to you, when I say to you, are you aware? And there is no mind present, you say,
Yes. Yeah.
yes. This is the only thing that you as a separate entity, as a body-mind, this is the only thing that you absolutely know before thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I get it, I think. Yeah. Now I get
This is, yes, this is the I am.
it. Mm.
Are you aware? Yes,
Yeah.
no thought, pure knowing. I exist. Rest there as often as possible. Let all the rest of it, the mind trying to figure it out and trying to, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? All of that is going to come and go. Those are vasanas.
Mm.
That is not who you are.
Okay. Yeah.
Ask yourself, am I aware? Yes. Stay here. That answer is not here. Are you aware? Yes. That answer is here in the heart of being, not here in the head. Keep coming back there.
Yeah. I use my head more.
That's
Thank you,
just a
sir.
habit. Please don't worry about that. That's just a habit, but it will take some time to break that habit. Use your head for other things. You know, you want to make a shopping list, you want to take a trip somewhere, you need to buy a ticket. Use your intellect for that. But for this, know you are aware. Stay there. Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Namaste, namaste. Okay. So, my friends,
Rishiji?
who is this? Is this Alberto? I recognize that voice. Who is this?
How are
Huh?
you? Yeah, this is Alberto. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just trying to get to your picture. I'm just trying to get to your picture.
I'm
Okay.
the sound is a little bit consequenza. Okay. I would like to talk very briefly. I would like to talk about mantras. You know, I love mantras. I love, the Mahamrityunjaya mantra that you put at the beginning of the encounter.
Yeah.
And the Gayatri mantra and the Om Namah Shivaya mantra or Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachala Ramanayana mantra. All of these mantras. I use these mantras in my meditation. I use these mantras in when I practice yoga as well. So the thing is, I love these mantras, but sometimes I have a question that I thought that maybe these mantras is an obstacle for my spiritual process, because maybe I have sometimes some attachment to this mantra. So what do you think about it?
Well, mantras are very powerful and they have a place. Their place is in clearing the mind.
Yeah.
Just like the last comment, I said to him, stop all that thinking, don't ask that question, don't do that. Just come to this, am I aware? Come right to the point. So mantras have the same quality. They have this ability to focus the mind and to quiet the mind and to bring the mind from here, from the head to the heart. So this is what mantras are for, right? Right. The question you need to ask yourself is once you get to this state of peacefulness, of quiet, of presence, can you turn off the mantra or stop the mantra in your heart or in your mind? And will you remain as being consciousness, as peace?
Yeah. So the space, we are the space where the mantra starts and where the mantra will dissolve.
Yes.
So we are behind the mantra.
Yes. But you have to, and use the mantra by all means. Just keep using the mantra while you are doing your sadhana if you need that. But you always must come to the place where you let the mantra dissolve, because with the reason the mantra is there is because it is dissolving the me. It is dissolving what you are not.
Yeah. Because
so
I feel so. Yeah. Sorry.
You can test once in a while to see if you are using the mantra to dissolve, then dissolve. If you are using the mantra to avoid dissolving,
Yeah.
I am doing a mantra, then you will stay there for eternity doing the mantra. You might be happy doing that. I'm not saying you won't be happy. I'm just saying if you want to realize who you are, maybe you need to go a little further.
Yeah. Because I feel I use the mantras because I feel a lot of devotion about the self. So when I use the mantra, I feel like a lot of love inside me. I don't know if you understand me.
Yeah, that's what it's for. Yes, this is right.
Good.
But okay, so let me give you another example to tell you the way that it's in Advaita teaching. It's said that there are a number of different breath awarenesses that you can use to still and calm the mind. Mantra is like this also. The limitation of breath awareness is that as soon as you stop doing breath awareness, counting breaths or doing patterned breaths or squared breath or whatever it is, the me-ness comes back into experience. So you can only keep the mind and body still and calm as long as you are doing the breath work. As soon as you stop doing the breath work, the vasanas come in again. Yeah. So mantra work has a similar characteristic in the earlier stages and on through many years of doing mantra work. If you stop doing the mantra, do the vasanas just come roaring back in and then you're back to your same old bad behavior that you were up to 2 years ago? Because if that's the case, then you are just suppressing the vasanas using the mantra or using the breath work. And ultimately you want to dissolve the vasanas. You want to dissolve the tendencies. And so this requires a different approach.
Okay.
Okay? So just keep going. Be as happy and as joyful as you can be. And if you do a mantra to make you happy and joyful, do that until you explode in joy and everything will be well. I don't ever want to stop anybody from I don't want to stop anybody from feeling, from following their heart. Yeah, follow your heart. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for your presence, for your space.
Yes, yes. Hariom. Lalita.
Namaste, Rishiji.
Namaste. Namaste. Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Today, during meditation, I was traveling home in a bus full of people. It was cold and shaky. And I was listening to your instructions and I felt it so deeply, like, oh, you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions and all this. It was so I mean, it felt so good. I mean, I felt like I was, I don't know how to say. In short, I felt so much peace and opening here, and like there was no bus, there was no, cold. It was just this peace and very beautiful feeling and freedom. Yes, freedom.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you so much for this.
Welcome.
And I have a question for a long time, and this is like there is this beautiful state, yes, which we can come back, and as you advise to come back there as often as possible. But there is also this outer world and challenges and some conflicts, a relationship, like some negativity. My situation. Yes. And so my question is like, when we are dealing with such things, what is right, like to keep this, openness and loving kindness, or we need to play that game, like to protect your personal boundaries, or like,
Yes.
like
Both are true. Both are true. You cannot have one rule for every situation. In some situations, it's like this. So this is the bus ride. You're in the bus ride, you have this sadhana that you do, and then suddenly you don't feel bothered by the jostling and the cold.
Yes.
And that's fine. But when you are in a situation with another person or with a group of people or with life just in general, you have to dance with the situation because you cannot withdraw your attention from the situation. In that case, you just dance. So this means you be as spontaneous as you can be, but your first rule of thumb, your first rule is do as little harm as possible.
Yes.
Both to yourself and to the situation. And so what that means is that is that sometimes in a situation, yes, all you can do is keep quiet, remain compassionate towards yourself, remain compassionate toward the other that is suffering.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to put a fence in the road and say, you cannot come in here. You know, you cannot bring that energy over here. No, you know, this is also appropriate. So you dance the dance that you're being given. And always remembering throughout the whole, whatever the experience is, whether it's the cold in the bus or it's the relationship difficulty, always remembering, I am not this, I am not this. I'm not the body, I'm not the difficulty, I'm not the emotion. Maybe you can't remember it until afterward, but you remember it as quickly as you can.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes when we're in a difficult circumstance, something is going on with someone or in some relationship or something, all we can do is be there as awareness and dance whatever dance is there and remain as aware as possible.
Mm. Yes.
And be kind to yourself. Don't think, oh, I failed or I didn't do it right or I should have done something else. No, because it's not you that's acting in that situation. There are so many things, any situation, any relationship, or any group of people, there are so many different karmic factors coming into the relationship that you have no way of knowing where it's coming or where it's going. And you have no way of knowing what you contribute to it, what another person contributes to it, what another person contributes to it. All you can do is dance in the hope that love and compassion will eventually solve the situation.
Yes. I get it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Are you back in Kerala now?
No, I am in my hometown in Russia
In
with my
Russia.
no, I mean I just I was now visiting them and I mean in the middle of satsang I had to come and see them. Then now I came to my yes, to my home, my apartment.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Then day after tomorrow I'm traveling to Moscow where I hope to get my visa, and then I have a flight to India on November 2nd.
By God's grace.
Yes.
Come
Thank
to
you.
Arunachala if you have time.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
all the best. You're welcome. Okay, my friends. I wish you all well. Sending you love, kindness, compassion. Be very kind to yourself. As I just said, you have no idea why what is coming to you is coming to you, or the way why it's coming to you in a particular way. You are before all of that. The only way to realize your nature is to be willing to look before whatever the experience you're having. You can rummage around in the chest, looking through all of the flotsam and jetsam, all of the trauma of your life, trying to understand why, what for, or you can be here now and know that that which you are is aware, not what it is aware of. You are not going to figure this out with your mind. I say this over and over and over. You are before all that. You have to test this out. I'm not telling you this because I want you to believe me blindly. I'm telling you this because I want you to test it out. You are before all of your imagined problems, all of your sadness, all of your grief. It is there. But know that you are before it. At any time that you drop the me, you drop the I am this or that story of your own life, you will find yourself here, now, in this moment. No past, no future. You are here as being, consciousness. You are that which is aware, which has always been here. Hari Om, Tat Sat.